Our world is changing. Has changed. There are some among us gifted with abilities far beyond the ordinary. I have adopted 6 such children. I give you the inaugural class of the Umbrella Academy.
And
What?
smile.
No.
Oh, no.
We're back. We're back. Out the way. Out the way. Out the way.
Get in!
I'm going in the front.
Everyone in!
Why are you yelling?
Shut up!
First person back!
Hell yes! Let's go kill this bitch!
This is a rescue mission.
Right.
God, what a bunch of losers.
You children bicker constantly.
Yeah, and we drive each other crazy. But when things go to hell, they're there for me.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the final countdown. Netflix just dropped the Umbrella Academy Season 4 trailer. It is the final season, thus the final countdown song from Europe. Also kind of seems like the end of the world because it looks like Lila and Five are in the future here in some sort of post-apocalyptic wasteland again, like the end of the world again. There's a bunch of Easter eggs here. I know there are a bunch of questions after the end of Season 3. The showrunner's been talking a little bit about that too, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. Starting with the big stuff first, they start episode 1 already inside the new timeline, the rebooted universe. That's why you see them walking through the professor's mansion, but it looks all run down like no one's lived here for years. The idea at the end of season 3 is the professor sought to reboot the universe, essentially creating a new timeline where his wife was still alive, because even though he's an alien, he has vastly advanced technology, he didn't have the ability to actually bring her back to life. The only way to do that, based on the logic of time travel, the way the multiverse works inside the Umbrella Academy story universe, is to literally reboot the universe, which essentially amounts to creating a new timeline. That's why later in the trailer it says the final timeline, like because it's the final season, but also they don't want to change the timeline any more than they already have the past couple of seasons, because they kind of do that every single season. They revealed that the professor learned about the Hotel Oblivion, this alternate dimension, little pocket dimension, so after his wife died, he sought to enter it and use the machine to reboot the universe and bring her back to life. In the comics, Hotel Oblivion was a completely different place. On the show, it's a pocket dimension that just has technology that they didn't get too deep into, like who created this, where did it come from? It was not created by the professor, he just learned about it. And they learned the professor needed to use the children to power the device up. Sounds kind of like the Matrix, using people to power up your machine. He killed Luther and stranded Klaus to die in the old universe while he was attempting to reboot the new universe, but Allison was able to stab him in the head before he could finish making all the changes, killing him. But before everyone could stop her, Allison, who had now become obsessed with getting her daughter back, who she'd lost when they entered the Sparrow Academy timeline the previous season, in that timeline, her grandmother died before Allison could be born, so thus her daughter was never ultimately born in this universe. She'd formed a bargain with the professor secretly to bring her daughter back, so that was one of the changes the professor made. She wanted her daughter back so badly, she went ahead and pressed the reboot button anyway, rebooting the universe. The showrunner talked about there being many different changes in this time. It sounds like they'll spend a lot of episode 1 with all the different characters getting used to their lives in this new universe. Like, what are all the things that are different now? But in the new timeline, we know that Allison gets her daughter back. Hotel Obsidian is just a memorial now. Luther is alive again. Five and Diego get their missing limbs back, but Sloane is missing now, and nobody has their powers, at least at the beginning of the season, because during the trailer, it looks like everybody eventually does get their powers back. We also find the professor did get his wife back, with both of them living in a large tower looming over the city, seemingly taking a much more overt position of power in the world. Definitely made him seem kind of sinister, like he might be one of the main villains of season 4, but we'll see, because there will be other villains. Like you see Santa Claus here running through the city street with a couple of automatic rifles. But one of the big things at the beginning of the season is everybody getting their powers back and finding Sloane, then confronting the professor about what's just happened. But because Allison killed the professor that you meet in this timeline is a completely new version who doesn't know anything about what that previous version of himself did trying to reboot the universe. So somebody's gonna have to give him like a real big recap of season 3. At the beginning of the trailer, there's a montage of everyone just exploring the new rebooted world, what their lives are like in this universe, but because they don't have their powers, for instance, you have 5 having to take the subway, the slow way, because he can't teleport. We get a voiceover from the professor, which is a callback to his speech during season 1 when he created the Umbrella Academy in the first place, but because of the context of this season, it's meant to be a sinister twist, like a darker parody of the original speech. Like literally everything has just changed. We see Victor at a random bar, not clear what they're doing there. Allison with her daughter again, we learned about that last season, so no big surprise there. Ben being released from prison for some reason. Diego at what looks like his daughter's birthday party. This could have something to do with Lila's pregnancy from before. Not really clear what they changed about his life and Lila's life in the new rebooted timeline. I think part of his deal in this new version of the timeline is just learning whether or not he actually would be a good family man, because that was the big question last season. Like, if she was going to be pregnant and they were going to have a child together, would it actually be a successful family? Would he be able to be a good father as opposed to his father, the professor? Maybe Allison did him a solid when she was working in changes with the professor. Luther putting his spacesuit back on for some reason. Klaus looking like he's strung up from a ceiling and is just hanging there. This scene seems like all the children after they found each other and finally met up, like the band is back together again finally. This might be at the end of episode 2 or early episode 3. I don't think they want to go too long into the season if there's only going to be like 8 or 9 episodes before they all get back together and start facing the major problems of the season. But like I said, they probably want to give you at least 1, maybe 2 episodes where everybody's just kind of experiencing what their lives are like in this new different universe. They say their first mission back as a team is a rescue mission. Not clear who they're trying to rescue. Maybe their mother, maybe someone else. You can let me know in the comments, like, who are they trying to rescue? This really advanced ship seems like it would either belong to the professor because of the advanced technology, or it could belong to another villain group during the season. Seems like the kids spend most of the season driving around in that rundown car. They use the subway map with Five and Lila as a metaphor for all the different timeline changes and changes that have just happened. They also call this the final timeline in the trailer, like I said, because it is the final season. This might be the professor's house. Looks like he might have some henchmen here standing guard. We get some voiceover from the professor complaining about the children always fighting with each other, always arguing, and it looks like he's talking to Victor. It looks like they're able to confront him on their own because it's just the 2 of them in that scene. Notice the wasteland here though, not sure where Five and Lila are. Maybe it's an alternate distant future because the symbols here at the exit look way more advanced than in present day. Looks like this fast food burger joint is a staging area for whatever group this is. This might be one of the other villain groups during the season that Santa Claus belongs to. Not exactly sure what's going on here. The professor has them plugged into some kind of device. This might have something to do with everybody trying to get their powers back, but he doesn't seem like he's torturing them, like he doesn't have an angry look on his face. Then we start to see all the different characters getting their powers back, like Five teleporting. This might be Luther in the suit trying to save someone. It could be Victor just because the fire powers seem like her fire powers that they're using later in the trailer. We see Ben getting his powers back. Generally, everybody seems like they get their powers back. There are a couple brand new characters that they revealed a while ago. Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally will play Midwestern Community College professors. This is probably them in the trailer here. Dr. Jean and Jean Thibodeau. Not clear what they're doing. They usually show up in series doing all kinds of random weird stuff. In fun fact, they're actually a married couple in real life. They just happen to appear in some shows together. David Cross is playing Sly Grossman, an upstanding but shy man desperate to reconnect with his estranged daughter. But I think the idea, because this is the final season, is they want to wrap things up with everybody trying to get what they think that they want without borking the timeline again and taking things away from people who got what they want. Also without creating another Kugel Blitz. Like, the whole idea is that each season, somebody, like one of the kids, usually does something super WTF or takes some radical left turn or does something really unexpected, creating the problem that they have to solve in the next season. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have some kind of twist that they end on here where like everybody kind of gets what they want, but it also winds up doing something really, really terrible. It would be very in the tone of Umbrella Academy to have an ending like that. But here's the thing, if the professor winds up not being the actual main villain, who do you think the actual villain of the season winds up being? Definitely seems like something is going on with this group wielding all these automatic weapons. But if there's any big Easter eggs or references that you spotted in the trailer that I didn't talk about in the video, write them below in the comments. June and July are going to be stacked with episodes. This isn't coming till a little bit later, but we have House of the Dragon Season 2, The Boys Season 4, and Acolyte episodes all starting next week, in the next 2 weeks. Of course, I will do videos for everything. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. Everybody click here for my new House of the Dragon Season 2 videos, and click here for my Boys Season 4 trailer video and Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.